Zimbabwean opposition leader and chairperson, as well as facilitator of the National Democratic Working Group, Job Sikhala, is launching his biography in Johannesburg today, titled Footprints in the Chains, the life story of Job Sikhala. It tells this powerful story from his beginnings in rural Masvingo to his rise as a fearless student. While in South Africa, to launch this book, reports are emerging that his house was bombed last night back home in Chitungwiza in Zimbabwe. It remains unclear who's behind the alleged bombing. Job Sikhala joins us now in studio for the latest. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome.
Good evening, Mpo. Thank you very much for inviting me to this interview.
I wanted us to start off with the book, perhaps before we get into the latest developments back home, which really sounds like a very traumatic experience, but perhaps we should jump right into it, because your political career, just looking at the impact and your experiences of your political career, I mean, you have seen arrests, you've seen detentions, and now an alleged bombing of your home. How much do you know about it? How was it communicated to you?
This project of the book came as the result of several Zimbabweans who have been demanding that the story of your persecution, your trials and tribulations must be recorded for the people of the world to understand how opposition political activists and players in our country have been the subject of abuse by the regime for a long time. So, there's several arrests and persecution, more than 70 times, without even a single conviction by the regime. Inspired several Zimbabweans for them to say, we need your story to be recorded. So when I came out of prison after almost 2 years under pre-trial incarceration recently, several people approached me, including universities in the United States of America, wanting to write the biography about my life, until one pastor from the Seventh-day Adventist Church, Munyara Savanu, asked me, to carry out the project. I was impressed by his inquisitive nature for him to carry out the project professionally, and I accepted. Hence the outcome of Footprints in the Chain, the life story of Job Sikhala, which we launched today in Johannesburg at the center, at the African Center for Governance, from 1 p.m. today up to 5 p.m. At the launch, quite several number of many speakers came from across different political actors in Southern African region. Our guest of honor is President Venancio Mondlane, the iconic opposition leader in Mozambique, whom we all know about him. He was the guest of honor, and from South Africa we had Advocate Dalim Pofu as our special guest, and also attorney Eric Mabuza. We also had Velapi of the Podemo party from Swaziland who came to represent.
That's quite an impressive guest list. I mean, as you talk about it, and perhaps let's talk about the title of your book. Footprints in the Chains is a deeply personal title. In the book, you speak candidly about torture, humiliation, and the cost to your family. What does it symbolize for you? And why now? Because right now, the other question that I'd like for you to answer is the bombing, the alleged bombing of your home, and it seems to all be tying in together.
This has been the trials and tribulations that I've gone through for the past 3 decades on the hands of the regime in Harare. And the bombing of my house today is one of those persistent issues that have been done to me by the regime actors in Zimbabwe. The bombing of my properties did not only start by the night bombing of today.
Yes.
It has been happening several times. I used to run a shopping complex in Chitungwiza, which was several times bombed. My house before I stayed where I'm staying today. We was also being bombed. Even my rural village, my parents were bombed in my rural village by the agencies of the state.
So what has the impact been? I mean, bombing, you talk about it like it's nothing. It's a serious crime, and you know the impact on your family and what that must mean for how your family survives, how your family lives.
Do you know what? You should never give your oppressor the time to enjoy the evil that he inflicts against you.
Yeah.
If I were to speak as if, I am so depressed and looking like somebody
who
is broken, that is exactly what my persecutors want.
Yeah.
So they must realize and know that no matter the amount of persecution that they can pour against me, because like a battered wife syndrome, where people would end up saying that this has been a recurring a thing that has been done to me by the regime for a long time. So it's one of those evil things that have been persistently done against me. But the last night bombing, the unfortunate part of it is that the whole world knew that Job Sikhala in South Africa is launching his book in Johannesburg today. My wife was also away. She had gone to our rural home in Masvingo for the memorial service of my uncle's wife who passed on a few months ago. So it was only my little children who were at the house. For somebody to be so heartless to attack young children in a manner which they destroyed my house and also the vehicles that were parked on the family garage, the way how the roofing of my house was blown demonstrate that we still have evil people in the 21st century who still believe in the politics of violence as an instrument of political organization.
Do you ever question the personal cost of your activism?
Definitely, but there is no freedom without costs.
Yeah.
Every freedom has its own cost. There are people who have lost lives in Zimbabwe simply for opposing the ZANU-PF regime. If you would go on the last pages of this book, there is a wall of honor of hundreds of Zimbabweans who have been murdered and assassinated in Zimbabwe for opposing ZANU-PF. So, when you are still breathing, there are other people who spent several years in prison fighting for freedom. So there is no freedom without cost. So as far as I am concerned, the conviction that I have is that we are engaged against an evil dictatorship. It needs commitment and conviction, and that conviction I carried.
SADC chair is President Mnangagwa, who's been criticized for silence or perhaps complicity in Zimbabwe's internal repression. Do you believe that the regional bloc is perhaps failing Zimbabweans? I mean, you speak about so much hardship, and as you reflect on it, what is your sentiment? There
is a clear public opinion among Zimbabweans that SADC has become a caricature of an organization. There is no any expectation by a normal Zimbabwean involved both in civic society activism or in political action that there is any hope for SADC to assist them on the challenges that we are facing as the people of Zimbabwe. SADC has been toothless several times. SADC has been complicit in many things that have been happening in Zimbabwe via their silence. When the people of Zimbabwe have been persecuted, SADC has never played its role to condemn its member states. At no particular time we have SADC leaders have called each other that what you are doing is not to the best interests of the government in your respective countries. So basically, SADC is an organ which many Zimbabweans are really disappointed about their actions. So there is no hope whatsoever, and any help that we should expect from SADC. So the Zimbabweans know that the destiny of their country is in their hands. There is no one, even a foreigner, will come and rescue us from the jaws of the dictatorship that we are currently under, is upon ourselves as Zimbabweans for us to make sure that we free ourselves. And persistently, we'll continue to persist calling for our freedom and happiness. We won't relent, and we will never be cowed into submission by a dictatorship. We are determined, and our resolve is the one that keeps us pushing.
Mrs. Sikhala, let me thank you for your time and wish you Godspeed, really, and all the best. Fortunately, nobody was injured in your latest attack with your family, but we do thank you for coming in studio and speaking to us about this very emotional journey. But thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mpo.